So this total body dose circuit consists of 3 to 4 exercises. Initially, you need to do a test where for each exercise, over a period of 1 minute, you do as many repetitions as you can with 2 to 3 minutes of recovery. Make sure you note the rep count for each of the exercises, as they will be used towards actually formulating how many repetitions that you're going to do when you come to the dose circuit, which is basically 25% of the test reps for each exercise done continuously for a set amount of time. As you can see here, beginners and novices 5 to 15 minutes, amateurs 15 to 20, advanced 20 to 30. So I'm going to give you a quick look at the different exercises that you're going to be choosing from. So first of all, you need to choose a squat option. So we've got the basic bodyweight squat here with the fingertips on the temples, elbows out, feet nice and flat, and then squatting down to parallel. So that's hips level with the knees. The next squat variation is exactly the same, but you're just going to have a broom handle or something similar across the upper back, holding on with the palms of your hands, just to still give you a bit of engagement and something to feed back off. The squat technique is exactly the same. And then slightly more advanced, which is great for mobility and an extra postural activation through the trunk, we've got the broomstick overhead as shown. Choose one of those 3. The lunge options, we've got the basic forward lunge, where you just step forwards, making sure that front foot goes flat to the floor, trying to make sure the knee doesn't go too far beyond the toes, but we should feel nice balanced weight going through the feet. And then we've got the reverse lunge option as shown here, where you're just stepping back, mirroring what you did before, but going in the opposite direction. You can do this in front of a mirror, just to give you a bit of aid as you're doing the exercise. And then the first of the upper body options, so the press option, we've got the press ups. So as you can see here, pivoting on the feet or pivoting on the knees for those that want a slightly easier variation. And then the pull option, for those of you that have got the apparatus to do this one, we've either got the seated row or the cable row, done with an elastic band, or we've got 2 different variations of pull-ups for those of you that may have a pull-up bar. So we've got the overhand grip, so the chin up, where we're trying to get the chin above the bar for each repetition, or we've got the underhand grip, which is slightly easier and just puts a little bit more focus onto the biceps as opposed to the back. Again, trying to aim to get the chin above the bar. So the test, here we go, and I'll talk a little bit more about the exercises as we go through. So Vicky here's opted to go for the overhead squat option, so she's working for that full minute to do as many repetitions as she can. Notice that the feet are about shoulder width apart, the knees are staying in line with the toes as she squats down, and those feet are roughly at sort of a 10 to 2 if you imagine the hands on a clock face, so they're very slightly turned out. Trying to get engagement on the glutes every time you're going back up and keeping a nice upright posture with the trunk musculature. Obviously, as I said earlier, having that broom handle above the head just helps you to engage the core a little bit more, making that exercise even more effective as an all over body exercise as opposed to just working the major leg muscles. And as you can see here, she's got good rhythm, pacing herself to be able to work for the full minute. Always looking out ahead in front of her and just focusing on keeping good posture and good movement quality throughout the whole of the minute. Now she's going into her lunges. So she's had a couple of minutes break, I hasten to add, before going into the lunges. But as I said earlier, the forward lunge she's opted for, so just planting the front foot and then working one leg and then the other. Now when you're counting these reps, it's entirely up to you whether you count both legs or you count every other leg. The main thing is that when you come to actually prescribing yourself the repetitions for the dose circuit, so 25% of your total repetitions, that you do make it an even number so that one leg isn't getting more of a workout than the other. We want to try and keep everything nice and balanced. But just to come back to these forward lunges here and to reiterate some of the main points, nice and plant with a nicely planted front foot, upright posture, the hips are in a nice neutral position so they're not wobbling everywhere, and we've got the elbows out to the sides, getting some engagement with the upper back muscles with those fingertips resting on the temples, ensuring good movement quality the whole way through. Another couple of minutes rest and then into press ups. So working for the full 60 seconds if you can. If you need to rest at any time during this minute for the press ups, because these are slightly more taxing than the leg exercises, then feel free just to drop the knees down and have a little bit of a break and then go again, keeping your eye on the clock so that you maximize that full minute. But for the press ups here, we're going for the full Monty, the full press up, all the way up and all the way down. So full extension up and all the way down to the ground if you can, pivoting on the feet. And as you saw earlier, you've got the option, the easier option, to pivot on the knees for those of you that maybe haven't done this before or are slightly less conditioned. Excellent stuff here. So we've not had a break yet. Oh, there we go. I've jinxed it. So if you need to take a breather, as you can see, do so. But then as quick as you can, making the most of those 60 seconds, get straight back onto it. But never neglect exercise form for reps. We want to keep good quality throughout. Couple of minutes break, and then here we are now, opted for the seated row rather than the pull-ups. Can't think why. Again, good posture, straight legs out with the band wrapped around the feet, and then working those arms back, all the way forwards, all the way back, keeping a nice upright posture with the spine, head up, looking forwards, and making sure you feel that engagement, not just in the arms, but behind the shoulders into the upper back. So between the shoulder blades and the rhomboids and the lower aspects of the upper to mid traps. For those of you that don't have this apparatus or a chin-up bar, don't worry, just leave this exercise out and work on the other three. Fantastic. And there you have it. So that's your opportunities with regards to exercises for the dose circuit itself. Remember that beginners and novices, 5 to 15 minutes, amateurs 15 to 20, and then advanced athletes 20 to 30 minutes. Now you've got an example of Vicky doing the actual dose circuit itself. So she's just shown you there how many reps she's got to go through. She's put that board down and now she's cracking on through. So I recommend anybody that's doing this, if you're really wanting to track your progression, so once you've done the test, if you're going to do the circuit that same day, or maybe you wait a couple of days to recover from the test, depending on how well conditioned you are, do keep a record of how many rounds you manage in your time that you're allocating yourself with the dose circuit. Because over just a few days, especially if you're a novice, you'll probably notice quite an improvement. And that in itself will be a great motivating factor to keep going. And within just a couple of weeks, you will notice, especially if you're doing this 2 to 4 times a week, a vast improvement, particularly if you maintain good movement quality as Vicky is here. Now, we're not going to be boring you to death for 20 minutes, which is the time that Vicky set herself. We're just looking at it for a couple of minutes so that you can just see the kind of pace and the movement quality that she's doing, which is exactly what I would recommend anybody do. We're not trying to rush these exercises. We're trying to ensure we get good engagement in the right muscles, and we're not just using momentum and poor form to get us through. This is all about movement quality, ensuring good posture so that we're getting maximum payback, maximum rewards from actually doing this dose circuit. So she's on her second round now, working through just a few reps on the upper body or with the overhead squats, and then even less when she comes to do that upper body. So actually, even though it looks like a lot of work when you're doing the test, when it comes to doing the dose circuit itself, the load is spread nicely. After a certain period of time, you will start to feel the muscles fatigue. So feel free to take a little breather, have a drink, and then go back to it. The main thing is that you see development in yourself with time. And I cannot stress enough, a simple circuit like this that uses big compound movements done regularly will not just get you better at these movements. Because your heart rate stays elevated, because you're targeting major muscles, you will see gains both in aerobic fitness, in local muscular endurance, in muscle tone, and general strength, which is hugely important whether you're somebody just looking for improvement in general well-being or if you're after sport-specific strength and endurance. Remember to retest regularly, and with that, enjoy. Get out there, Smash it up. Boom, boom, shake the room.